The Ginettas, these are brilliant little cars to drive. The Ginetta G40 Junior, it's what you see on British touring car weekends. Again, not very fast, but very drivable, very controllable, good for close racing. The G55 GT3, bit bigger, bit more powerful, sounds lovely, drives very, very nice. And the G55, again, bit bigger, drives even nicer, sounds even nicer. Then you got the McLaren 12C GT3. I've not driven that yet. That will be a beast. Not got a lot of horsepower though. Into the Mercedes, I have driven this car. I found this to be a little slow, sluggish, sounds slow, makes it feel slow. And then the Pagani Zonda appears to be top in class excuse me, in this class. Very fast car, bit tricky on the steering, but does top the timing screens in time trial. And then you got the rough GT3s, the Porsche GT3. Perfect handling car, this brilliant car to drive, just lacks top speed. Okay, what class have we got next to look at? American stock car, well, that's NASCAR. On GT, I was a bit of a fan of the NASCARs. Bloody hell, £70 for the limited edition in Norway. They're screwing you. No offence. Jesus. Can you not get it imported? That's what I'd be tempted to do. Have a look and see if you can get it imported. That's a ridiculous amount of money. In that case, go for the standard edition. £30 extra is not worth the extra cars you get. Especially if you just host a lobby and set it to all the same cars so people drive what you're driving. Okay, so there's the NASCAR anyway. I don't like that as much on this game as I did on GT. Okay, then you got the open wheelers with the classic cars. Lotus 49 Cosworth. That is one tricky car to drive. That is like driving on rain, in rain, on ice, blindfolded, with no grip on your tyres, but still fun to drive. The Lotus 72 Cosworth, I drove that a little bit earlier. Interesting car, very, very tricky, very, very powerful. And you can be going in a straight line, you go full throttle, and you're not going in a straight line anymore. The Lotus 78, little newer, little faster, still just as tricky to drive. And then the Lotus 98T Renault, the one that Senna made famous, and it has got the Team Lotus liveries available as well. That is a beast, an absolute beast. And I missed out the Formula Gulfs. These were the first open wheelers I really tried, and these are brilliant little cars. So much grip and not a lot of power, not a lot of speed, but very enjoyable open wheel cars to use. Also very good for using helmet cam. Thank you, iFez Twitch. I've enjoyed having you watch me. I did get some friend requests. I haven't looked at any of them yet. See, £55 for the basic edition is still it's still quite expensive. I'm surprised they're charging you as much over there. I don't know if it's more on the Xbox or not. I mean, I did mention earlier, I don't really pay much attention to what the Xbox does, but there we go. Okay, into the prototype cars. This may be a bit boring for you all, but it is giving me a bit of a break from racing for a moment. Now, in the prototypes, you have got a couple of different classes. LMP2s, this is one of them. It does say under the name on the right hand side next to the big A, this is an LMP2, no roof. The LMP2s are brilliant cars to drive, bags of grip, plenty of speed. We've got the Audi R8 TDI, it's an LMP1. I haven't driven that car yet. I've tended to avoid this car excuse me, because it's a diesel, and it's not because it's a diesel really that I've avoided it. It's just I know the revs will probably sound very, very you have money in your door. You're all rich over there, too much of it. Yeah, the revs are probably going to sound very different in this Audi, that I may not be used to it, but that is a car I will drive at some point. I know on GT that is a very, very, very good car. Okay, in the Caterhams you've got the SP300R LMP2 car. Very, very nice car to drive, that. The Marek, you've got an LMP2 car and an LMP1 car. Both of these, all the prototypes, are brilliant to drive. Way more grip and way more drivable than the Formula A's. And then they've got an Oreca 03 LMP2 car, again open roof. And I do like these open roof ones because it does mean that I can use the helmet cam, whereas with the tin tops I find it a lot more difficult. The Palmer Jaguar JPL, I found actually this one was very tricky to drive, but then I was racing against people on pads using assists, and I think the assist was what was giving them the advantage over me at the time. Okay, I have no idea what the name of this manufacturer is. RWD. Ah, this is the one, I think, which is designed, maybe designed by the Project Cars community. I know that there is at least one car on here that is. But we've got LMP2 car, LMP1 car. Excuse me. In the prototypes, the LMP1 RWD here, I think, well, it did top the timing screens in a lot of them, but the Marek has pipped it in a few. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant car to drive, and has the most amazing sounding dump valve. That's what I took around the Nordschleifer. And then you got the Radical SR3 RS, interesting little car, and the SR8 RX, again another interesting car. Both of those in the LMP2 class. So they're the cars that we've got on the game, and from what I hear, they will be bringing out updates with other cars, possibly other tracks, which, if they did, would be very, very good. I have had a few people say to me as well, why have they not got sort of any official touring cars or that kind of stuff? Well, okay, they haven't got the touring car cars, but then I think there is a game out there. Matt Neal arranged a touring car game, so he may have the rights for that, I don't know. But when it comes to games and official licenses, it can get very, very tricky. And okay, we haven't got anywhere near as many cars on this as you get on Gran Turismo, but most of the cars on Gran Turismo are a waste of time anyway, and most of the cars on this are just very, very good. Okay, so okay, Petland, have a good one, see you later. I now need to go and do some driving, I guess. So I need to go and work out what I'm actually going to do. Now, I have been awake a long time, so I don't really fancy going into doing excuse me, some of my career mode at the moment, because I'll probably fail miserably. So I could go into doing time trialing again. Okay, I will. Now, what I've been doing on time trial, because obviously there is all the different tracks with different classes at each track, so what I decided to do is I was going to set myself a challenge, which I started a few days ago at the Donington Park track. And for a couple of reasons, I really like this track, and also I only live 3 or 4 miles away from the circuit, although I've never driven a real car around it. So I decided I was going to set myself the challenge, which I started on a video, which is 10 laps in each class of car, with the aim of getting to the top of the timing screen. Start off in road cars, work my way up. Failed miserably with some of them, and after the video I decided, right, okay, later stage I'll do more laps and I'll post those videos onto my YouTube channel. And the road cars is the one that I've most recently redone. I managed to get into second place with a 1:27.8, but I know there's more time there for me to find, because after I put that time in, I was going 3/10 faster in sector 1, but then kept ballsing up sector 2 and 3. So I know there's 3/10 there for me to just go and pick up. I did try earlier on, failed miserably. Now, that particular lap I've done there is on the YouTube channel. that's across the bottom of the screen, Front Row Racing DP. So if you're interested, go and watch that. It's not the best of laps, but it does show where I can find more time. In the touring car class, I was really looking forward to doing well in here, but that Mercedes I haven't got because it's a limited edition car. So I haven't really got much chance of getting up on that timing screen. But what I will do is, I'll actually do that now. In this particular class, the Ford Sierra is the fastest. In a straight line anyway. So I'll take the Ford Sierra Cosworth around here and see how we get on. I don't expect to do very well, to be honest, because of how this car handles, the fact I can't edit anything with the setup. I'm going to go in with no assists on, but I will probably find it would be much easier if I do put the assists on, even though I don't want to. But if you do want to top some of the timing screens in cars that don't particularly handle very well, you may have to put assists on, because some of the cars are just undrivable or very tricky with a base setup. 'Cause in time trial you don't get to edit your setup at all. I was trying to skip through and find myself a semi-decent livery. I'm going to go with that one, mainly because I had a Domino's last night. Okay, so just to confirm, gameplay, got no assists on. I can't edit anything with the car, which is very frustrating. No, I don't want it on random. I go back to that thing. So yeah, can't edit any of the setup. I even wondered whether, if you work on your own setup in free practice, whether it takes that setup to the track. It doesn't. I know that because in the Formula B's, the Formula A's, I set my car up around here and it was beautiful. I was doing lap times in the 107s. I went and looked at the time trial leaderboard and the fastest lap was a 108. I was like, right, I can have that. I went in, realised you can't use your own setup, and initially I struggled to get into the 110s. So let's go and see what this Cosy can do. I'm going to expect it to be very sideways. I'm not going to go flat out of the box. I'll just give myself a few laps to warm up to it, see what the car is capable of, and while I'm doing so, I'll just play about with me sector times. I'm going to put the telemetry screen on, just so you can see exactly what I'm doing. But just like around Nordschleife, when it comes to me actually trying to put hot laps in, I will have to change it, because although it is brilliant, personally I do find it quite off-putting. Now you might be looking here thinking, well, that car's handling fine. Well, I'm nowhere near pushing it at the moment. Now, although it's showing me being full on the brakes there, I'm actually not fully pressing the pedal. Which does make it quite tricky when cars are locking up, because you'll know that you're not pressing the pedal fully, but you're locking up and it's like, why is it locking up? I'm not fully on the brakes. But actually you might be, even though your pedal is not fully depressed. Oh, it's sad. Okay, so as we go through these first few laps, we'll try and pick the speed up. May make a few mistakes as we try and work out braking points, turning points, how much I can get the power down. I mean, ideally down Craner curves flat out, but in this car it does like to twitch about a bit. Also, cars do tend to like running wide there. Oh, on the brakes, it's just sliding straight on. I said it might make a